And she basically talks about how she just wants her kid to be able to fight. She goes, I just want him to be able to handle other kids. Hey everybody, and welcome back. It's Coach Dre. So every martial arts instructor runs into this parent. They're not a tiger parent. They're not a helicopter parent. This is a Black Hawk Apache parent. She doesn't want confidence. She doesn't want discipline for her kid. She just wants them to know how to fight. So about 8 or 9 years ago, my wife and I both worked at Fit to Fight. She would do the front end work. She would talk to the new customers. She'd set them up on schedules and set them up with new classes. I would do the class instruction. So with the new families, what we would do is we'd bring their son or daughter in. We'd do what was called an intro. We basically do like a 15-20 minute private with them right before the regular class. That way they kind of get used to it. It also kind of gave a better closing rate when signing people up, because now the kid was gung-ho going to class, and it kind of worked all the way around for everybody generally. And if it didn't work for the parent, if they didn't like what we did, then it was an easy decision for them to say, hey, it's not for us. So with that in mind, one day this woman comes in. She's set up for an appointment. She's getting ready to sign her kid up to do the intro lesson. So no commitment besides the 15 to 20 minutes that we do the intro, and they get a free uniform with it. And as she's getting started, we're explaining to her how our program works. It's about confidence. It's about being able to practice self-defense. And as I'm talking to this lady, it's not even registering with her. So I just listened for a little bit. I asked her some questions, and I'm kind of listening for what she's saying. And she basically talks about how she just wants her kid to be able to fight. So there's no context to it, nothing. Just like, I want my son to be able to fight. So keep in mind, this is not boxing. This is not MMA. This is not for competition, and it's not for self-defense. She goes, I just want him to be able to handle other kids. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I promise you. Because at this time, we could teach people how to fight reasonably well, right? We've been doing it for years. And we had kids that grown up with us and came to the black belt ranks. We had coaches that were amateur fighters. We had some of our friends that are fighting in the UFC and other professional organizations. So we can definitely teach them how to fight. But in her head, she wasn't hearing any of that. She's like, man, yeah, I just want my Johnny to be able to kick some ass. And she didn't say it exactly like that, but that's exactly what she was trying to get across. I think in her head, it was like some kind of downloadable skill, right? You can check off, basically. Like he would come into class, and then, a couple days later, he would emerge like Neo from the Matrix. He's like, I know Kung Fu. Here's what most parents like that don't understand. Kids' martial arts programs aren't meant to be fight factories. Could we throw them out back in a Fight Club-like basement and tell them, hey man, best of luck, let's get after it? Absolutely we could, but what would he get out of it? We're not back there like, all right kids, today's lesson is winning arguments with your fists. It's about confidence, it's about discipline, listening, it's about not melting down when somebody looks at you funny. You see, kids don't do nuance very well. You tell an adult, this is for self-defense only, okay? They hear the fine print. They understand. You tell a kid you're learning how to fight, and in their head they're thinking, I'm now the main character. Why is this the problem? Because kids don't think in self-defense scenarios. They think in, he took my pencil, or she looked at me. Congratulations. Your child has now defended themselves from having recess. Self-defense is about escaping danger. Fighting is about winning. Those are very different goals. Self-defense says, how do I get home safely? Fighting says, now I can dominate the 4th grade. And then there's a liability angle that comes with this too. Because teaching kids how to fight without context doesn't make them safer. It makes them suspended. And suddenly the parent is shocked. Like, why would he do that? He's never done anything like that before. Like, ma'am, you asked for this in the lobby like yesterday. When I explained all this to her, she wasn't very happy. So why didn't this karate Karen like the answer? No matter how I tried to drill in, context is important. They're going to build their confidence, going to build their self-defense. She didn't want to hear it. She didn't want self-defense. She just wanted peace of mind. She wanted to believe her kid would always win. So what is the real lesson out of this? Real confidence isn't knowing that you can hurt somebody. It's knowing you don't have to and not feeling insecure about it. Martial arts done right do not make kids aggressive. They make them calm, aware, and weirdly polite. So what's the closing lesson out of this? If you want to get your kid involved in combat sports because you want them to do boxing, you want them to do MMA, and you want them to compete, right? Maybe in jiu-jitsu, that's completely fine and it makes sense, but this parent wasn't after that. The goal is to raise a kid who knows when not to fight. Because usually the strongest kid in the room is the one who's not trying to prove it. But you know what? I always like to hear stories from y'all. So leave a note in the comments. Have you ever had an experience like this where you had training and somebody kind of pushed you, or you wish you had training when you were growing up? Share so others can hear from your experience as well, because we all grow as a community. Anyway, guys, I'm on the way to 2,000 subscribers, so I appreciate your time, I value, and looking forward to the next one. Guys, stay safe, have a great weekend.